Hello, everybody. So we've concluded that it was indeed a moist summer, and it is a moist summer. Um, I have a heat rash in an unmentionable place that we will not discuss any further. Um, so today, well, kind of reminds me of the time when I was a wee little lad, and our well would constantly go dry. Now I know absolutely nobody is going dry listening to this podcast with my soothing voice. So today, we are going to be talking about important topic about how I am a squirter. Now, you want an explanation for that? What do I mean by that? Well, we're gonna kind of Quentin Tarantino it. I told you the end of the discussion. We're gonna go we're gonna go back. Gonna go back to the beginning to discuss this revelation. Um, so when I was a kid, um, basically my dad and my mom, they were like hardcore. If you're sick, don't take a Tylenol. That's for the it's for the weak. Um, don't if you're sick at all, you don't need treatment. You know that kind of stuff. So they're like I mean, like they got us all our vaccinations and took us to the hospital if we broke our arms. But like, if my brothers were beating down on me, my dad would be like, "Well, fight back," that kind of stuff. Um, I am most definitely a disappointment to my father in every way, but nonetheless, we'll do an episode of my dad another day, not in a mean way, but in a fun way. Um, so when I was a kid, anytime I got sick, which in my household was every single Sunday for all eternity because church was kind of boring. At least at the church that I went to, we went to like like we couldn't even afford a real church. Our church met in houses, so it was like a Pentecostal revival church in a tent, except it wasn't even Pentecostal, it was Baptist. So like didn't even have booze at communion. It was quite boring. The only thing that you knew when you went to a Baptist church is that it is hot and uncomfortable, and all of your friends are going to hell. That's basically what a small Baptist church was. But anyways, um, I remember growing up, we had this little Toyota Tacoma, which is basically um, it's a truck that can fit four people, and in the back cab you had to sit sideways. So like he'd be sitting in the back, he'd be looking out the driver window, or you'd be looking at the passenger window. He'd be like wouldn't be facing frontward, and I got wicked car sick in that thing. So every single time I'm on my way to church, um, mom would dress me up to the nines in like the warmest, most uncomfortable church clothes that you could possibly imagine, and that is what I would wear. I'd go put on all that, go to church in a building in a house with no air conditioning, or in the wintertime, a building with no heat. Um, because yeah, we could afford 10 hunting dogs every single year, but we couldn't afford to have go to a church that was comfortable. But anyways, I get like wicked car sick, and like every time we went to church, I say I have to puke. So I just associated going to church with getting sick because I get tossed into the back of this truck, and I would sit on my brother's lap, and my sister would sit in my other brother's lap. There were like four of us packed into the back seat that could barely fit my left nut right now. So yeah, very very tiny space. Dressed in like sweater vests and all that. So yeah, I would get sick every single Sunday, and my dad would say I was being a wimp. Mom would say I'm just trying to fake it to get out of church, but no, mom, I got sick. I did not like driving to church in that warm, ungodly, hot vehicle. So, anyways, um, growing up, that was that's how you get treated as for being sick in any type of way. You'd have to be basically throwing up your guts or crap in your pants before they would believe you. I remember getting sent home a couple times when I was in school because I said I was sick before I went, but then I wasn't believed or anything like that. Now I actually have wicked allergies, especially like hay fever. If my hay fever isn't treated, my eyes will swell shut and I can't see. And I can't drive because it's not safe. And like, I don't just mean my eyes get a little puffy red. No, they will literally swell shut like the end of Rocky. It's absolutely brutal. I remember one time, we were showing off our house. Well, this house here actually, this my castle, my little trailer trash castle that you see in the background here. Um, and our lawn wasn't mowed all year, much like it is now. I can't even mow my lawn because I'm too allergic. So I would crawl through the field, and then my eyes swell shut, and my parents were like, you'll get over it. And then on the way home, I couldn't breathe and I couldn't see, so I had to go get medicine from a store. But at least I got some black raspberry cheesecake ice cream on the way home as a consultation for not being able to see anything. Yeah, it looks horrendous. Like, you look like it kind of looks like you get pink eye, but like 10 times worse. So it looks like somebody just pulled up to me and just friggin' dirty queefed right in my eye. Um, so that's what I look like every single summer, and that's why my brothers continue to call me a giant puss because I refuse to mow the lawns right now because I have to mow my lawn wearing a face mask. So when you see some dude walking downtown wearing a face mask, like 4 years after COVID ended, and you're like, oh, what is that dick doing? He's probably allergic to something, or he spends too much time watching uh, CNN, or just begs Trudeau to peg him or something. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, so that's what I did, and yeah, I have to mow my lawn wearing a face mask because I'm not that afraid of COVID. And my dad was like, "Oh, you're not allergic." He doesn't believe any time I tell him that I'm sick. I remember telling him I'm asthmatic and I have to take a steroid with me. He's like, "Oh, you don't have asthma." I'm like, "Okay." Yeah. So yes, we've established that my parents do not believe me when I get sick. So there was this one time, I think it was 1999, the year when my brothers went to their Y2K party, and pretty sure the only things my brothers really got as presents that year were probably venereal diseases from going to that party. Um, so yes, if you're listening, Josh or Jonathan, sorry, but you probably got at least one. Um, anyways, um, so at that time, my brothers were off doing their thing, and me and my sister were home, and we all got we all got bitten by a nasty flu bug, all at the same time. Um, I got sick, my mom gets sick, my sister got sick, and my sister got sick. She's when she was younger, she was very dramatic about getting sick. Like, she would beg my mom to take her to the hospital for a stomach bug, that kind of stuff. So she got sick with the flu. She threw up, and then that happened. And then my mom came upstairs to see what was going on. I started laughing, and I proceeded to shat my pants, and it was wet. It was like it was like preteens at a Twilight convention levels of moisture. Um, it was absolutely disgusting. And so I shat my pants, and like I said, it squirted everywhere. And then my mom came upstairs and she started laughing. And then it, right then and there, hit her. She crapped her pants. So within a span of 10 minutes, we all crapped our pants at the same time. Um, so that's how that day went. Now, I say I'm a squirter, but there's more to this story than that. It happened again like 6 months later. Um, I I got sick with the stomach flu, and it was in the middle of the summer, and we grew up in a house that had an outhouse, and our well was just a dug well. It went dry constantly. Like like how quickly did it go dry? Like picture, I don't know, Jocelyn, when you wear your workout shorts and you're deadlifting, someone sees you. That's how quickly it went dry. Just shriveled up to dust. Um, Tyler, when you're driving that, when you're driving your vehicle and you get your gut hanging out, shriveled up to dust. So I did all that. Uh, Water get dried up horrendously. Um, Now I had to shat my pants. I came close to doing it, but my brother, he flushed a toy gun down our toilet, and my parents were too cheap to fix it in the 10 years that we lived in that house. So the upstairs toilet was occupied. The downstairs toilet didn't flush in 10 years because apparently buying a hunting dog for $2,000 was more important than spending $300 to fix your plumbing. Um, so I had to go and use the outhouse. So what I did, I ran out. I panicked. I couldn't shimmy the door open. It's kind of, so picture like picture like my wedding night trying to unsnap the bra, like that level of panic. Um, so I just started tugging on it, just like just like the first time I got the internet, just tugging on it ferociously, and it busted off the hinges. So long story short, panicked, tugged on it ferociously until it busted, and then the disaster of wood, just hit me in the forehead. The door popped off its hinges and it hit me in the head, and must have been a button because I just squirted everywhere. That's it. I squirted. That's the whole podcast. See you next time.